What is up, ninjas? What if I told you that billion-dollar companies use the exact same step-by-step formula every single time to make their advertisements, and I am about to reveal exactly how you can implement that with your business without spending millions of dollars on an advertising agency, guys. So stay tuned. This is going to be a good one. All right, ninjas, welcome to another exciting episode where we're going to talk about how to make advertising copy, right? The text part of an advertisement, and how to make images or videos that simply convert, right? Attracting people's attention, pattern interrupt, getting them to actually pay attention. Because guys, remember, this was a Facebook epiphany that I had a long time ago, but it took me hundreds of thousands of dollars of spend to realize this. People are not buying your product, right? They are buying the solution your product solves. And so that's a very, very important point. Without going too far into the Ninja Vault, where I reveal hundreds of different advertisements that, I've collected over the years that do a fantastic job of this, I want to talk about something that every ad shares. Remember, guys, you only have 25 characters for the headline of a Facebook ad. And what I mean by that, we'll jump quickly into the actual ad here. What I mean by that is you only have 25 characters for the headline, 90 characters for the text, 200 characters for the description when you are creating an advertisement, guys. So you don't have a lot of space. And so every single ad that you make has to have the same commonalities because these things work. If you look at Coca-Cola, if you look at Pepsi, if you look at Microsoft, Apple, all of the biggest companies, they do the same things. They just do it in their own creative way, and they spend hundreds of thousands of dollars hiring these big ad agencies in New York to actually create these type of advertisement campaigns for them when we don't actually have to do that, right? We can copy them. We can take inspiration from these advertising campaigns that these companies spend hundreds of millions of dollars on, and we can apply them to our own businesses. We just have to kind of shift our mindset to become, a little bit more of an observer, of a researcher, rather than just a consumer. When I see an advertisement for Apple or for Coke or some of these billion-dollar companies now, I'm not just looking at it, and watching it kind of on autopilot. I'm dissecting it. I'm saying, okay, why are they presenting this information at the beginning? How are they hooking me? Where's the emotional draw? And so, I've kind of broken down all of these billion-dollar advertisements, and I've really, so clearly kind of laid this out. This is a huge document. We're not going to go too deep into it because obviously I have to save some stuff for the Facebook Ads Ninja Masterclass students. Love you guys. But we are going to talk about some things that are very important and something that we can apply to all of our advertisements right now, right? So a short and sweet headline with an action and subject. And so let's take an example. The new age of email forever changed the way you communicate with your customers with just one click, right? And this is opposed to saying, email that lets you store 250 gigabytes of, storage and has a 100% deliverability rate. Like, these are very different ways to convey the same message because people don't buy because of logic, right? Somebody might, logically buy that email service, the second one I talked about, because it has more storage or because it delivers higher, but people buy because of emotion, right? The new age of email, it sounds so like epic and, like the next level and enticing. Forever change the way you communicate with your customers with just one click, right? It's so easy. It's like implementable, actionable right now, right? Social evidence of social proof. All successful ads, for the most part in our space, unless they're like a name brand, like Coca-Cola, for example, doesn't need to prove to you that it's like a household name at this point, right? Because they're such a massive company and they are a household name. But most companies have to have social proof to kind of show somebody who's viewing the advertisement that they should actually care, right? So could 100,000 paying students be wrong, right? Like 3-time winner of the best pie award in Utah or whatever the case may be if they're a pie company, right? So having social proof where you're really showing people how awesome you are by telling them that hundreds or thousands of other people already like your product with that social proof. Strong value proposition, right? And this is not to be confused with the product or service features, but how they're actually going to feel after they use your product or service, right? Let's take socks for an example. Again, you could say like 100% cotton, machine washable socks, or you'll feel like you're walking on clouds, right? People like to imagine what they're going to feel like once they've used your product or service. If you're selling an e-commerce product, right? What is the benefit that the end user will get from your product, not the features of the product itself, right? And then again, eye-catching communicative imagery through your ad creative. And when I say creative, I just mean like the images of the ad or the video of the ad. And then an action-oriented, time-restrictive call to action, right? click the button below before our sale ends forever this Friday. And again, if you're using Facebook ads, which most of us are, and that's what this video is about, emojis do a fantastic job. And we're going to go over, one example of a very, very well put together ad, kind of from start to finish, with all of these examples and all these things that I'm talking about really laid out beautifully for you guys at the near the end of this video. But before we do that, I want to go over a few kind of resources that you guys can use to find inspiration for ads. And we're gonna go over these very quickly. Again, we do go super, super in depth on these in the Facebook Ads Ninja Masterclass, but let's go over them very quickly just to give you guys some sweet resources that I personally use to find advertisements for any niche. All right, guys, so let's get into the resources. So I have them up right here. The first one that we're going to talk about is called Swiped.co, and this is a really cool website because basically what it is a expert advertiser kind of breaks down advertisements in all different types of niches. So the way that I like to use this website is kind of as follows. So what we can do is in all types, we can choose Facebook ads, which we're going to do in a second. But first I want to talk about this controlled and tested, right? Tested is really cool because if you click this right here, he'll actually show advertisements that they've split tested. Right, so if we see right here, there's a control and the sequential, and so what this kind of means is, and you see this little up arrow with the 5%, they show kind of here. We'll take a look at this one. They show two different versions of the same advertisement with small differences, and then they talk about the conversion percentages, right? So photo of him facing the form to draw attention, right, versus like the entire thing. The original donation form was a little bit too long. They kind of made it a little bit shorter and they made it more self-explanatory, right? You choose the amount first, so it's kind of a micro commitment rather than having to fill in your entire information and then choosing the amount. And we see that, there's a significant kind of percentage difference in the amount that people were donating based on these small changes, right? And he actually kind of annotates them, right? A smart addition, option to turn it into a recurring payment, make this monthly contribution. Hillary got a similar process, but broken it down into 3 steps, and they're unnamed, right? Donate 1, 2, and 3. But they kind of all use similar types of things here. Bernie also offers a recurring option, but allows you to specify for how long. And so, it's just really cool because political campaigns have a lot of kind of brain power behind them, and he's really breaking it down. So if you have, a similar type of thing where you're trying to get people to pay for something, perhaps offering it in this similar kind of type of fashion would be something that would be kind of worth doing. But the point is, guys, there's a ton of different advertisements here, tested where he's split testing, or just control where they're kind of giving just advertisements and then annotating them based on what's actually there. There's all different types of things like dental services, software as a service, health and well-being. They have email copy. They have all types of stuff inside of this ad. And so, one of the things that I always tell myself and my students is there's no reason to ever make an ad from scratch, right? There's so much inspiration out there, and there's so much that you can actually kind of get ideas from, that sitting in front of a computer and thinking, I don't know how to make an advertisement, I don't know how to make a Facebook ad, is just an excuse, right? And I don't mean to say that to call anyone out or anything like that, but it is. So anytime that you're creating an advertisement, there's always a way to find inspiration for the ad that you're making, right? And you might be saying to yourself, well, I'm making ads for Facebook, or I'm making ads for something that I don't see here. And so we're going to talk about how to find, ad examples and inspiration for pretty much any ad in a second. But first, let's take a look at these Facebook ads, right? Because he actually breaks down the ones that have the control written here. He breaks down, the entire campaign of these people, and it's really, really cool, especially the ones from Ryan Deiss, right? Ryan Deiss owns Digital Marketer. I think, in my opinion, he's one of the smarter people when it comes to marketing out there. He definitely spends the most time kind of dissecting it with a digital marketing perspective. And so, when I'm going about creating a t-shirt campaign, for example, there's no reason on earth why I would go and try to make my own completely unique strategy. I would just take inspiration from people that have these enormous companies that are spending hundreds of thousands, if not millions or hundreds of millions of dollars, figuring out the best way to do these things. And then I would copy it and then add my own creativity and obviously my own designs. I would never copy it exactly, but there's no reason not to take inspiration and get ideas from these people that have these large teams and that they're actually really doing these things from a larger scale. Okay, so that is just another example of an actual Facebook ad, actually with annotations you see right here. And you can also search just like Ryan Deiss. and everything, they're selling millions of dollars worth of e-commerce products every year. And so looking at, their email marketing, looking at their Facebook ads, looking at all of the things that they do, right, is such a good idea. Like $1 trial offers is a great way, because once you get somebody to kind of break that mental barrier, that boundary of spending $1 with you, they're much more likely to spend more money. It's 100% more difficult to get somebody to spend $1 with you than to get them to spend $100 with you after they've already spent that $1, which is why you see a lot of huge companies, softwares, offering $1 trial pages. And so we're not going to look at all of these, but obviously in the Facebook Ads Ninja Masterclass, we go through the ones that convert the best, and we go through things that I've learned, because I've added my own creative elements to these ads and made them significantly better as well. So that is swipe.co. It's a great resource. Another cool resource is adespresso.com/ad examples. So if let's say that you're in like a random niche, like you're selling like maybe like snacks, right? Because I have some peanuts right there. So here we go. So there's 320 Facebook ad examples for snacks. And I bet there's probably stuff, let's see if we put like healthy snacks. Okay, so 320 goes down to 35, and now we have advertisements. This is beautiful, right? Look at how nice this ad looks with the use coupon code NUTRIFIRST to get 15% off your first order, right? This is less than 20% text. It kind of features like a big, beautiful type of thing, coffee, right? Almonds, the granola, lots of great stuff here to take a look at, right? The Yummy Plants 5 tips for healthy and productive work week. Lots of different stuff here. Snacks are a great way to eat healthy with organic ingredients while on the go, available in 6 delicious flavors, all raw, vegan, organic, gluten-free, and dairy-free. Like a lot of buzzwords here. So just a ton of examples of Facebook advertisements, and there's some really advanced ways to kind of use this even better. That we do go over, super in-depth in the Facebook Ads Ninja Masterclass. But that is kind of an intro to it, and you can use it in a lot of really cool ways. Just kind of from a basic perspective, just putting in searches here without kind of using any of the advanced features to get a lot of inspiration. Because the point here, guys, is don't kill yourself, right? Don't just sit in front of a blank canvas. Don't let yourself get writer's block. Don't get overwhelmed, right? Decision paralysis kills entrepreneurship. Make sure that you're getting inspiration from these other large companies that have been doing it for years, that have thought about it, that have tested things, that have spent hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars figuring these things out, right? And if you're using kind of the ninja blueprint for making an advertisement, like we talked about before, right? All advertisements kind of have the same types of commonalities. And we go, much more in depth about that as well. But almost every ad has the same kind of elements where they're, drawing people in with enticements. They're making you feel it rather than the product features, right? They're getting you emotionally. All of, most ads have the same type of kind of most successful ads have the same type of blueprint, whether it's like a brand new company with just you running it, or if it's a, billion-dollar company like Coca-Cola. Right? And so if you're looking for ads, you can use Google, right? So if like I have a pit bull company, obviously some of these, like this one, would probably not work very well unless I was like trying to start like a movement against pit bulls, because he looks kind of angry here. But this is a good one, right? If like you had something like 30% off, and just like this picture kind of attracts the attention. But a lot of people say, how can we use these images? They're like, we don't own these images. And that's a good example, or that's a good kind of statement, right? And so what you can do is you can use a website called Unsplash. So if we come in here and actually type in Pitbull, Unsplash gives you, these are royalty-free, no copyright images that anybody can use, right? And so this is a great way to find no copyright images, whether you have like a Shopify store or you're starting like your own kind of e-commerce type of situation. But there's if you need these images for something else, this is a great way to do it. But if you need it strictly for a Facebook ad, there's actually a better way to do it, right? So if we come in here and go into the ad media itself, we can see here where it says free stock images. And a lot of people don't use this, but it's actually a super powerful tool. So if we go in here and type Pitbull, for example, there's literally like a million pictures of pit bulls in all different types of ways, and you can use these images copyright free, right? So Shutterstock and Facebook have kind of a recidivism agreement where Shutterstock allows people to use these ads free, and it won't have that watermark. Like it says, watermark won't appear in the final ad image. But there's so much here, guys. Like if you don't have money to create your own creatives, you can seriously get so many like beautiful images completely for free, right? And so even if, like, for example, you went and got like a graphic artist for $5, you can get inspiration. Like, this is such a good picture, and you could put the ad text over here on the right side of that picture in that blank space. or, you know, like a beautiful woman with smiling. You know, there's a lot of very kind of predictable things that people react to as far as advertisements, right? Beautiful, smiling people, whether to put the text of the ad on the right or left. All of these things matter, guys. And once you can shift your mindset from being kind of like just a consumer, like where you're just like kind of mindlessly watching TV and watching commercials and like listening to advertisements, you can shift your mindset to actually become kind of a researcher where you're dissecting those ads. You'll start to notice similarities, you'll start to notice commonalities, and you'll start to be able to apply those things to your own business, guys. And so as promised at the beginning of the video, let's go over kind of a full example of an advertisement that I've used to generate hundreds of thousands of dollars of profit. And let's actually kind of break it down, right? So here we go. This is an advertisement that I've actually used, and I changed the image here just to show you guys that it can actually be a stock photo like I just showed, right? But like you'd want to have some specific elements that we discussed kind of in depth, right? You want to have a smiling human, you want to have the text on the right side, you want to have specific elements, right? It has to be less than 20% text. There are some more advanced things that you want to talk about, but from a very basic perspective, having a beautiful smiling human in the right place and having, you know, text that is kind of adhering to and kind of taking advantage of people's pain points related to what you're selling is good enough, which we go over super in depth. So first of all, number one, right, challenge or frustration. So the very first step here, you guys see this is called pattern interrupt. So when people are scrolling through their Facebook feeds, right, they're not looking for advertisements. They're looking at their friends' photos, they're looking at pictures of cute dogs and stuff. And so when they see wait, right, that's kind of a very deeply ingrained thing. When people see wait, right, it kind of snaps them out of their autopilot where they're scrolling. And, you know, before you keep scrolling, answer me this, right? And we're not going to go super in depth on this, but I love to lead with a question or story because people are very predictable, right? People are all unique, but they're predictably unique and they react to advertisements very similarly if you know how to do them correctly, right? So before you keep scrolling, answer me this. Why is it that even though people know e-commerce can change financial destiny, that they don't go for it? Right? And that's a very like good question, because if people had seen how successful my Amazon and my Shopify students and my Facebook ads students are, then why wouldn't they pursue it? Why wouldn't they want more financial freedom, right? So I really truly believe in that question, and it kind of shows a pain point, because if people truly understood how intensely it, like, you know, if you're doing it right, how intensely e-commerce and Facebook ads and things like that can change your life, then why wouldn't they do it? Right? So I'm asking that question. I'm kind of I'm taking advantage, and I'm poking that pain point. And then the credibility and authority statement, right? Over 5,000 paying students all had the opportunity to refund their purchase of the Amazon FBA Ninja course and chose not to. Why? Right? Is it because of the hundreds and hundreds of success stories? You know, why is the Amazon FBA course the fastest growing Amazon course anywhere? I could tell you all of that, but I'd rather show you, right? And so today only, here we go. I'm offering a completely free training showing how to go from complete beginner to e-com ninja in 90 days flat. Here's the call to action, right, which people call the CTA. So this is what we're actually, because people need to be told what to do, right? They're reading an ad, but they need to know what they're supposed to do, because people, you know, people just prefer being told what to do. In these cases, they don't want to be confused, right? They don't want to read this and say, okay, what's the next step? Am I supposed to click here? Am I supposed to call someone? Right? So make it very, very obvious all the time. You know, click here, join our free training here, click this button, right? Here's this 1200 by 628 pixel image with less than 20% text. The display URL, right, the one that shows right here. The link, CTA to main hook. Today only free training for Amazon beginners. We see that right here is the headline. And then the link description, right? The secondary point or benefit, which we see right here. Are you tired of working for the man, going to the same 9-to-5 job day after day after day, right? Again, poking at that pain point that a lot of people who are looking for a passive income source actually would, you know, it would be kind of speaking directly to them, right? Because the better that you know your audience, the more that you can kind of tap into their pain points, and the more that you can present your product or service as the solution, right? Where you make them feel how much better their life would be once they join your product or service, right? And so that, guys, is an introduction to, you know, how to write amazing ad copy, how to really kind of speak directly to your perfect customer, and then how to find inspiration for your ads using Ad Espresso, using SwipeCo, and then how to take advantage of copyright-free images pretty much for any specific niche, guys. And so, like I said, we go so much deeper into like using human psychology, exactly how to make ads, everything that you guys would ever need to know to make $1 million ads in the Facebook Ads Ninja Masterclass. And so if you guys are interested, interested, there's a completely free training down in the description. It will be the very first link, and check it out if you guys are interested. I'd love to have all of you, and I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and I'll see you on the next one.